How to deal with your period at school. It's not always fun to deal with your period at school, especially if you're having cramps and finding it difficult to find time to use the restroom. Making a strong game plan, however, will ensure that you never again have to stress about managing your period at school or getting caught off guard by a surprise. The most crucial things are to have your materials prepared and to feel at ease using the restroom. Keep in mind that receiving your period is something to be proud of rather than embarrassed about. Part 1. Being prepared. 1. Always carry tampons or pads with you. Have pads, tampons, pantyliners, or whatever else you regularly use with you throughout the school year if you really want to be prepared for your period at school. That way, you won't have to worry about any unpleasant surprises. By doing this, you can help a friend who isn't prepared and ensure that you're always ready. Menstrual cups, which are put into the vagina and collect blood at its base, are another option to think about. You won't be able to feel them, and they could last up to 10 hours. They are just as safe even though they aren't currently as widely used as tampons or pads. It is usually preferable to put on a pad or a panty liner shortly before heading to school if you have periods and believe that they will start today, based on your cycle. This will help you relax and prevent anxiety. Always keep an additional pair of underwear and pants on hand, even if you don't use a pad, panty liner, or tampon. 2. Recognize that having a period is nothing to worry about. There should be a modest bit of blood when your menstruation starts, not a large influx. There is therefore no need to be concerned about your peers finding out that you have had your period. Additionally, there is no need to be concerned about others hearing you use a pad or tampon in the restroom. Like you presumably do, most people will probably disregard any rustling they hear. 3. Start an initiative to make your school more period-friendly, so that students who are having periods won't have to miss class because they don't have access to pads and tampons. Ask that they be placed in the toilets. Request that there be a place to dispose of old pads and tampons in every bathroom. Most importantly, I request that each class allow students one break so that they can leave if they unexpectedly start their period. 4. Locate secure locations to store your sanitary supplies. There's no shame in letting people see your sanitary items, but if you're worried about it, you can find places to hide them. You can put them in your purse, for starters, but if you can't carry handbags to school, you may also put them ingeniously in your pencil box, tuck a pad into the pocket of your folder or binder, or, if you have no other choice, drop a tampon down into your boots. If you prepare some hiding areas, you won't feel as anxious when that time of the month arrives. Use a locker if you have one. Additionally, it will be simple for you to store your supplies here all year long rather than having to bring them when your period starts. 5. Just to be cautious, bring an additional set of pants and underwear. Although it is improbable that you may leak through your underwear and pants, being ready with an additional set of underwear and pants or leggings helps ease your mind if something unexpected happens. You won't worry about your period or a leak just by knowing that they are available if you need them. Bring a hoodie or jumper with you as well, just in case, to wrap around your waist. 6. Include a candy bar of chocolate. You might want to eat more chocolate if you have your period or are suffering from PMS. Studies reveal that chocolate can help with some PMS symptoms, and many people also find chocolate to be tasty. In addition to being a delightful treat, eating some chocolate can help you feel more emotionally secure. 7. Prepare some medication to ease menstrual pain. If you frequently have monthly pain, including cramps, bloating, nausea, or any other possible period symptoms, you should always keep some medication on hand. Make sure your school is okay with it. Advil, Midol, Tylenol, or any other over-the-counter drug that works best for you may be used. Although you do not need to take it when you start your period, having it on hand will make you feel better if you are not feeling your best. Before taking any medication, make sure to discuss it with your parents or guardians and a doctor to ensure that it is appropriate for you. 8. Be aware of the timing of your period. Even while your period may not be entirely regular just yet, tracking it might help you figure out when to anticipate it. This will not only prevent you from being caught off guard at school, but it may also inspire you to take preventative measures, such as wearing panty liner the week before your period is due, just in case you receive it a little early. If you haven't yet begun your period, get ready in case it happens at school. In teenagers and young adults, the menstrual cycle lasts an average of 28 days, but it can last anywhere between 21 and 45 days. Use a personal calendar to note the day your period begins, or a smartphone app like Clue, Period Tracker Lite, My Calendar, or monthly cycles to keep track of it. 9. Become familiar with menstrual cycle warning signals. Consequences of menstruation include cramping, bloating, acne flare-ups, and breast sensitivity. Your menstruation might be approaching if you're exhibiting one or more of these symptoms more frequently than normal. Checking your supplies again is a good idea when you start to notice signs like these. Make sure your emergency tampons or pads are where they belong, and replenish your supply of pads and tampons as well as painkillers at home. When you anticipate your period approaching, dress in dark colors. In this manner, the color will aid in masking any unexpected bleeding that may occur. Part 2. Reacting when your period starts. 1. Use the restroom as soon as you can. This enables you to evaluate the circumstance in private and locate the supplies you require to go through the remainder of the day. Ask your teacher politely for permission to use the restroom as soon as you suspect the start of your period. When the other students are occupied with their work, try approaching your teacher. If you feel like doing so, describe the matter directly. If not, you can still convey the message by saying something along the lines of, "I need to go to the bathroom, my stomach hurts." 2. If you need help, ask a teacher, a nurse, or friends. Don't be ashamed to ask your friends if they have any pads or tampons you can borrow if you find yourself unexpectedly on your period and without any supplies. Try requesting assistance from one of your female teachers if they are unable to do so. Just know that menopause happens around the age of 45 to 50, so you might not want to ask older teachers. If you absolutely need assistance, you can go to the school office and ask for extra supplies or ask them to call your parent or guardian. If you truly have an emergency and can't find care elsewhere, don't be afraid to go there. Visit the nurse if you require additional assistance. If this is your first period, the nurse or school counselor can explain the ins and outs of menstruation or, if necessary, assist you in obtaining menstrual products and a change of clothing. 3. If required, make an emergency pad. Making an emergency pad may be your best alternative if you are in the bathroom with your period just starting and have no other options. To make the pad thick enough, all you need to do is wrap a long piece of toilet paper around your hand at least 10 times. Place the pad lengthwise inside your underwear. Then, using a second long piece of paper, wrap it 8 to 10 more times around the pad and your underwear to ensure that it is firmly in place. With another piece of toilet paper, you can do this once more. Even if it isn't even close to the quality of the genuine thing, this will work in a pinch. You can also manufacture a temporary panty liner if your period is only very light. Simply take a piece of toilet paper that is around the length of your underwear's panty line, fold it over twice or 3 times, and stuff it into your underwear. 4. If necessary, enclose your waist in a jacket. A spare t-shirt, jacket, or sweatshirt should be worn around your waist if you have one, especially if you believe menstrual blood has seeped through your clothing. Until you can change clothes, this should help cover any dark stains. Remember that first periods are typically not very heavy, so if this is your first period, it's conceivable that you have already detected the blood leaking through your clothing. Despite this, it's still a good idea to deal with the problem as soon as you can to reduce the chance of any leaking. changing into your PE kit, if available, or asking the school nurse or counselor to call your parents for a change of clothes if you find that blood has seeped through your clothing. Don't be concerned about your peers seeing your abrupt change in clothing. If they do, just casually explain that you spilled something on your pants and leave it at that. Part 3. Having a solid game plan. 1. Remain hydrated. Staying hydrated will prevent your body from retaining water, which will help you feel less bloated, despite the fact that this may seem counterintuitive. You should have a water bottle with you or try to use the water fountains as much as you can in between classes. Throughout the day, try to consume at least 10 8-ounce glasses of water. Drinking a lot while in class can be challenging, but you can make sure to sip on extra glasses before and after class. To ensure you keep hydrated, you can also attempt to include meals with a lot of water in them in your diet. Watermelon, strawberries, celery, and lettuce are a few of these foods. Reduce your caffeine consumption. Drinking caffeinated soda, tea, or coffee in moderation is advised. You can become dehydrated as a result, which might actually make cramps worse. 2. Consume meals that reduce gas. Avoid eating meals that make you bloated if you want to manage your period as effectively as possible. Fatty and carbonated foods are the main offenders. This implies that instead of having a cheeseburger and Coke or French fries for lunch, choose instead for salads, turkey sandwiches, or wraps. You could feel better if you switch to water or unsweetened iced tea instead of cola. You feel bloated after eating fatty meals because it causes you to retain water. Whole grains, beans, lentils, cabbage, and cauliflower should also be avoided. 4. Schedule restroom breaks every 2 to 3 hours. Make a schedule to visit the restroom every 2 to 3 hours before class starts so you can change your pads or tampons if your flow is heavy, or just make sure everything is in working order. Simply knowing that there is no leaking will help you feel better if you are worried about it. If you have a strong flow, you shouldn't need to change your tampon every 2 hours, but you should aim to do so every 3 to 4 hours. If your period is light, you might be able to go up to 5 or 6 hours, but this is not advised because it can result in toxic shock syndrome. Make sure to wear the least absorbent amount of clothing necessary to prevent this as well. Having toilet breaks every 2 to 3 hours will also encourage more frequent bladder emptying. Your period cramps may be eased by emptying your bladder when you feel the urge to use the restroom. 5. Correctly dispose of your pads or tampons. Make careful to properly dispose of your tampons and pads while you are a student. Even if you flush tampons down the toilet at home, don't do it at school because you never know how sturdy the pipes are and you don't want to start a flood. If there are restroom stalls with small bins, try to use those. If not, attempt to wrap your tampons and pads in toilet paper or their original packaging to prevent them from sticking to the bin's side. Remember that many students have to dispose of their sanitary napkins, and don't be embarrassed if you don't have a trash can in your stall. Simply wrap them in toilet paper and dump them in the garbage outside. After changing a pad or tampon, you should always wash your hands. 6. If it makes you more comfortable, dress in darker colors. Even though it's unlikely that you'll leak, you might choose to dress in darker clothing the week before or the day of your period just to feel safer. Just so you won't have to worry about checking your behind or asking your buddies to check for you every 2 seconds, you can wear darker jeans or a darker outfit. If it makes you more comfortable, schedule a few days where you just wear gorgeous, darker hues. Having said that, don't allow your period to prevent you from donning your fashionable new attire. Wear whatever you like, knowing that there's really nothing to worry about, even if it's light or pastel in hue. 7. Be aware of appropriate responses to offensive comments. Even if they were unpleasant, keep in mind to treat them with respect and avoid being harsh or insensitive in return. If they continue, speak to an adult you can trust. In the interim, try the following responses. I'm not in the mood at all. Please put a halt to that. Right now, I really need some privacy. Would you kindly cease that? 8. When necessary, request an excuse. If you're in class, it's best to ask to be excused, go to the school nurse, or gently explain your circumstance to the teacher before leaving the room to use the restroom and your locker. Below are some helpful explanations that don't go into great length. Can I please use the restroom for a moment? My aunt, Flo, has come to see me. Please excuse me from class for a short while. You know, I have a feminine emergency. Warnings. Be tidy. Make sure you leave the bathroom neat and orderly and not messy when you exit. Never forget to wash your hands. Replace your pad or tampon every 4 to 8 hours, whichever comes first. Depending on how thick your period is, this can alter. Never spritz perfume around your vagina or on your pads or tampons before using them, just to be safe. Your genitalia can become irritated. Verify that it is permitted at the school before bringing Advil, Pamprin, etc. Over-the-counter pharmaceuticals are generally prohibited at schools, and bringing them could result in penalties. Toxic shock syndrome, a rare but fatal condition, could occur if you keep a tampon in for too long. To be safe, make sure to change your tampon every 4 to 8 hours. To fully understand the dangers, read the directions on the tampon container.